Skelly MHK is with us. Here's a question. Can you confirm what's happening at Ronaldsway Industrial Estate for cannabis cultivation?
I would say the Airport Technology Gateway, there is opportunity for a number of different businesses, and that might well be one of them. We have had significant interest recently. We as government have, or actually have in planning, some infrastructure improvements there at the moment that will help improve that facility.
It's a massive site, isn't it?
Huge, great potential, definitely. And as I say, we do have interest from a host of different sectors in that area.
Obviously, Castletown is growing. They're putting a new housing estate in as well. Let's go back to your constituency. Big estate in Port Erin. Obviously, the Balqueenie, whatever you want to call it, is growing as well. How much development can Rushen take?
Well, I think Rushen was part of the Southern Area Plan, and what you've just seen recently there in Castletown is really a result of, I think, the Castletown review that was separate. So, but it's good to see that level of interest, I think, in housing, which of course is enjoying quite a buoyant market at the moment.
And just going back to how it develops, the Southern Area Plan wasn't, how can I put it, didn't have 100% complete acceptance, did it?
No, and of course, having gone through that painful journey, and then just taken through, as Tynwald did recently with regards to the Eastern Area Plan, I think the result is a real benefit to the area. And what you're trying to do is really give a blueprint for development, appropriate development. And the Eastern Area Plan doesn't just cover housing, it covers employment land as well. So it gives some clarity there. And what I do know, and sitting in our role, in our position, is that there is massive and significant investment being mobilised as we speak.
Lots of questions regarding flights today. Howard said, will we lose the London Heathrow connection when COVID is over? And when will flights restart to Dublin?
Yeah, well, we have committed as a government there to Heathrow for quite a number of months there. Which
who owns those slots at Heathrow? Is it Loganair or us?
It's through the airline that negotiates that, and that's obviously our colleagues in Department of Infrastructure. But clearly, we would support the benefit. Heathrow is the airport we've always wanted, and we would hope to maintain that. And given the support that we have, that should give us in goodwill. How would you make a really good point about Dublin? I would agree that Ireland and the connections there is also a critical network, but clearly at this moment in time it would be very difficult to commit to that. But again, we do have the steam packet, and one of those benefits there is we kept open the opportunity of more sailings in and out of Ireland.
What's Visit Isle of Man's strategy regarding the cruise industry? Obviously, the cruise industry has ground to a halt worldwide. When do they think it'll pick up again?
Yeah, that's a good question, really. And we've seen these pictures of these, many cruise ships lined up and dormant. And I think, in essence, that's going to take some time. You've got to look at the demographic, the type of people they appeal to. So what we are here on the Isle of Man, we're very attractive to small cruise ships, and on that basis, I think we'll be able to take them as and when the cruise industry is ready. But going back to Steve's point, he said about discounted day trips, I think really is what we're getting back to. The steam packet could provide that real day tripper financial benefit.
Okay. Will there ever be a place, because we've heard all the schemes for getting enormous cruise liners alongside, whether it's down below us in Port Skillion or Port Sodrick or Port Jack, putting something there. Do you think, is that idea of a huge ocean liner terminal dead in the water?
I would say for the short to medium term, yes, it is. It'd be hard to really think that would fit. And again, that gets back to mass tourism, which is really difficult for us on the island in any case.
Retail and service sector, in a question in, Sylvia said, obviously not everybody can work in e-gaming or in the digital world as well. How do we attract, or do we attract, retail or service companies to the Isle of Man?
Retail has been a difficult time, especially pre-COVID with the advent of the internet, etc. What I will say is that retail does get support from the department in terms of the micro business startup. We do the business improvement scheme. There's website opportunities there, regeneration. So we do provide support in that area. And the one thing I would say is definitely focus in on your online advertising. And the last point there to make is that the events fund that the Economic Recovery Group set up has been a great success to drive people into various parts of the island and hopefully spend in the retail shops.
Okay, let's go to Donald, who is with us on the line. You're live with Laurence Skelly, Donald.
Hello, Donald.
Hello, Mr. Skelly, Minister.
How are you doing there, Donald? All right?
I'm doing all right, but I've been listening to you as I've been coming home in the car.
Right.
Of all the wonderful advantages, right, of this cable. This cable that we at Port Greenock had to have the road shut for weeks and weeks on end as they brought the cable all the way up. That's 3 fibre optics cables up Port Greenock now. The road is in one heck of a state. The bottom now, as they've been connecting it up, is like Rommel and the 7th Army have been in. And I just thought if you were on your way home, it would be grand for you to call and have a look and see if you couldn't persuade your Highways Division to do something with Port Greenock Road, which hasn't had any tar macadam or any chippings or anything on except for a bit down at the farm, because it's in a terrible mess.
Oh dear. Thank you for highlighting that, Donald. And popular destination. I haven't been down for a little while, but I can imagine people going down to the beach. It's disruption, I guess. And what we got to do here is ensure we got a proper and appropriate reinstatement. And I'll pick that up with our colleagues in the in Department of Infrastructure, I guess.
Well, you see, an awful lot now use Port Greenock since the lockdown.
Don't they just?
For going out on their boards and their canoes. And I was down the other day and there was a couple who were trying to do the footpath around the island. Yeah. And to be honest, there was open trenches. They couldn't find a way of getting across to the beach the other side. And, you know, I literally had to show them to go another way, which wasn't the footpath, on private land, as it were, to actually continue their journey. And I sometimes think there's not enough coordination between the departments who are doing it. And if the island is going to have a tremendous advantage out of this cable, but it ends up at Santon Railway Station. Now, my answers to it questions, they were going to take it along then from Santon Railway Station to Port Erin and go out again out into the Irish Sea. Now, has that all come to an end now? Are they now connecting it via all the seabeds of the Scallops and Queenies, which I'm hearing have been disrupted? I just wonder what advantage the Isle of Man is getting out of it. That's all I'm saying, really.
No, that's fair enough, Donald. And again, apologise for the disruption you had down Greenock. But it is coming out of Port Erin. You're right, and it's just disruption for a few days there in Port Erin at the beach. So I don't think it'll be too disruptive there in terms of businesses and people. But in terms of it's about connectivity, Donald. So when we went into lockdown, it was obviously imperative that we all were connected in terms of keeping businesses going. So the digital and the finance guys, they continue to work all from home, and some of them still do. And that's part of it, really, is to ensure that they've got that resilience effectively, is what this cable will do.
Donald, when would you like to see it all smartened up by?
As long as it is smartened up, because at the moment, as I say, if people went down there to try to go out with their little canoes and boards, they just couldn't get down there. And to go down with a boat, well, you just couldn't get your boat down there onto the beach now, because, as I say, I went down and asked the lads down there who are only doing their work, you know, could you reinstate it in a way that it makes it accessible? Mm. And the reply was, this is private land. It's got nothing to do with the government. Mm. So I wondered, I wondered where on earth we were all coming from.
Okay, all right, that's great. Donald, thanks for calling us today.
Definitely pick that up.
And that'll be top of the list, I would imagine. That's it. We're just about out of time now, Mr. Skelly. Thanks for being with us. Who would have known what would happen when we first did these on the phone earlier on this year? We've come through remarkable times this year. The Isle of Man is unique in the world for being the position that we're in. And I just wonder, when you look forward to 2021, your level of optimism.
I think we have a lot to be optimistic about here on the Isle of Man, I term it as a sort of a rediscovery of our island. We take a lot for granted, don't we? And I think we've learnt that this year. We take our health for granted, we take our jobs for granted, we take our friends and family. And I think today, and this is a time for reflection, and we look back and think what we've actually been through. I think we have done remarkably well, as you say, but I think we have a lot to look forward to, and that great Manx spirit will live strong.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Nola Kennel.